I made some funny ass. I was using ChatGPT. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna bring this up. I need to move on to this next topic, but I guess while I'm already shooting the shit, I can talk about the stories I had ChatGPT make up about David Miscavige. I find them hilarious. This is one example of how I use ChatGPT. This has nothing to do with Scientology. Don't judge me, but I said, write a complete list of Marissa Tomei movies in chronological order. I'm sorry, but I'm not able to browse the internet. As a language model, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'll narrow it down. Help me get a date with Marissa Tomei. I'm sorry, but I'm not able to help you with that. As a language model, I do not have personal relationships with the ability to interact with people in the real world. My function is to assist with generating text-based input, blah, blah, blah. I do not have any personal information or contact details for Marissa Tomei or any other individuals. Useless. So I said, I was like, all right, you can't do the work for me. Help me. Write out a list of ways to get Marissa Tomei to go out with me. It gave me the somewhat helpful advice. As a language model, I do not have personal relationships or the ability to interact with people in the real world. Therefore, I'm not able to provide specific advice on how to ask Marissa Tomei out on a date. In general, the best way to ask someone out on a date is to be respectful, confident, and direct. You can also try to find common interests or activities or to talk about, as it is a way to connect with the person and potentially ask them out. However, please keep in mind that everyone is different. Yeah, but I still have to talk to Marissa Tomei, so you have been absolutely pointless. Thank you. This is my Twitter. Let's see. The ChatGPT. David Miscavige stared at his reflection in the mirror, completely entranced by the handsome figure staring back at him. He had always been confident in his looks, but today he felt a deep connection to the man in the mirror. As he gazed at his reflection, he felt his heart start to race and his palms become sweaty. He couldn't believe the strong feelings of love and desire were coursing through his veins. He reached out, touched the mirror, feeling a surge of electricity as his fingers made contact with the cold glass. His reflection reached out as well, their fingers meeting on the other side of the mirror. David's heart swelled with emotion as he realized that he was falling in love. With his own reflection, he couldn't help but smile, feeling happier than he had in a long time. As the days passed, David spent more and more time staring into the mirror, lost in the beautiful eyes of his reflection. He knew that it was unusual to fall in love with one's own reflection, but he couldn't help how he felt. Eventually, David couldn't stand to be away from his reflection any longer. He moved into the bathroom and set up a small bed and a few necessities so that he could be near his beloved reflection at all times. Despite the strange circumstances, David and his reflection lived happily ever after, lost in their own little world of love and admiration. This is what AI was made for. Oh, I have more. All right. David Miscavige had always dreamed of being a part of the Lollipop Guild. As the leader of the Church of Scientology, he was used to getting his way and being in control, but when he tried to join the Lollipop Guild, he was in for a rude awakening. The Lollipop Guild was known for its strict membership criteria, and they were not impressed with Miscavige. He was deemed too short and too mean to be a member. Despite his best efforts to charm and intimidate the guild members, they stood firm in their decision. Miscavige was devastated. He had always seen himself as a powerful and influential leader, and being rejected by the Lollipop Guild was a serious blow to his ego. God. I'm so excited to read it, I stumble over myself. And being rejected by the Lollipop Guild was a serious blow to his ego, but he refused to give up. He began a campaign to win over the Lollipop Guild, using every tactic at his disposal. He offered them money, gifts, and even threatened them with lawsuits. But the Lollipop Guild remained steadfast in their rejection of Miscavige. In the end, Miscavige was forced to accept the fact that he would never be a member of the Lollipop Guild. He was angry and humiliated, but he knew that he had only himself to blame. He had let his ego and desire for power blind him to the fact that he was not the right fit for the Lollipop Guild. Miscavige vowed to change his ways and become a kinder, more humble person, but it was too little, too late. The damage had been done, and he would never be welcomed into the Lollipop Guild. Thank you. This is when you all start snapping. At very least one person's chuckling. One OSA rep is going to chuckle at this. At the very least. Oh, the next one's about Tom Cruise. Don't worry. The next one has Tom Cruise in it. I tagged Tom Cruise in this one. The prompt. In this one you can see the prompt at the top. Tom Cruise and David Miscavige had always been drawn to each other, but their love was forbidden. Tom was a world-famous actor and the face of the Church of Scientology, while David was the controversial leader of the organization. As they worked together, their feelings for each other grew stronger and stronger, but they knew that they could never act on them. The Church of Scientology strictly forbid any kind of romantic relationships between its members, and Tom and David knew that they would face severe consequences if they were caught. Honestly, the biggest problem that ChatGPT got wrong here, in just so far, if I can cut it, is that that's not the reason that they wouldn't be able to get together. The reason is because Scientology looks down on homosexuality, and they think that any homosexual behavior is like an aberration of spiritual laws, universal hoo-ha, blah blah blah. They pretend like they're all inclusive, but they eventually you're expected to audit the gay away. I continue. Despite the risks, they couldn't deny their feelings any longer. They began meeting secretly, stealing moments alone together whenever they could. Their love was intense and passionate, but it was also dangerous. They had to be careful to avoid detection, constantly looking over their shoulders and making sure that no one was watching. As time went on, the pressure of their forbidden love began to take its toll. They were constantly stressed and anxious, living in fear of being discovered, but they couldn't imagine life without each other. And they were willing to risk everything to be together. In the end, their love was exposed, and they were forced to face the consequences. The Church of Scientology condemned them and cast them out. But Tom and David didn't care. They were finally able to be together openly, and nothing else mattered. Their love may have been forbidden, but it was strong enough to withstand any obstacle. They would face whatever challenges came their way, as long as they had each other. Beautiful. Just Last of Us, episode 3. Quality. Incredible. Incredible. Miscavige vowing to change his ways. That's how you know it's fiction. Exactly. The next one is write a thrilling horror story about ending up on Scientology's mailing list. This one is scarily accurate because ChatGPT knows how bad it is to be on Scientology's mailing list. This one surprised me because it was like, it wasn't sure how to feel because it knew how aggressive it was. So there's a little, it's all in orange because it's like, we're going to need feedback on this because I don't know if this is good or bad. We got a lot of negative information about being on the mailing list. As soon as Sarah signed up for the free trial of the new streaming service, she started getting strange emails from an organization called Scientology. At first, she ignored them, thinking that they were just a coincidence. But as the days passed, the emails became more and more frequent, and Sarah started to feel uneasy. She tried to unsubscribe, but every time she clicked on the link, it just took her to a blank page. The emails started to contain increasingly personal information, as if someone was watching her every move. Sarah tried to brush it off as a mistake, but she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. One day, Sarah received an email from Scientology that contained a detailed description of her daily routine, including her home address and the names of her friends and family. She was terrified. Sarah tried to talk to her friends and family about it, but no one believed her. They thought she was just paranoid and told her to ignore the emails, but Sarah knew that it was more than just a coincidence. She was being targeted by Scientology, and she had no idea why. As the emails continued to pour in, Sarah could feel herself becoming more and more isolated. She was scared to leave her house, and she was constantly looking over her shoulder. Finally, Sarah couldn't take it anymore. She packed a bag and left town in the middle of the night, hoping to escape the grasp of Scientology. But even as she drove away, she could feel their eyes on her, watching her every move. She knew that she would never truly be free, not until she found a way to get off their mailing list. Like that's good. That is good.